Good evening, everyone. This is Brittany from Reign Supreme. Thank you so much for coming to our live talk for studs and femmes, Lavender Diaries. I'm like super duper excited about the show tonight because this discussion is something that I've been kind of waiting for because we always talk about dating, relationships, what's going wrong with dating, like how there's like pee, poop, and everything else you can imagine, blood, all of that in the dating pool. We always talk about dating horror stories, what not to do, what not to do, what not to do. But we rarely get to highlight like the good things, like the best things about relationships, love and commitment and marriage and all those lovely romantic things. So tonight, we're actually going to switch it up a bit. So instead of having our normal cast, which we're actually going to be doing some announcements later on, instead of having our normal cast, we actually have four amazingly beautiful couples that we're going to be talking to talk about marriage, relationship, commitment, love, showing up for ourselves as well as our partners, and all those things in between. So I'm really super excited to introduce them to come on. So again, you're seeing this because this is a collaboration of Reign Supreme and Real Boys Talk INC. I'm really excited about where we're going with this. Rejected. We got so many good stuff coming up. I don't want to spoil it right now. We got a couple of announcements coming later on in the show, so definitely make sure you stay tuned. Okay? So, without further ado, I'm actually going to bring up our four couples, have them introduce themselves, and then we're actually going to get right on into it. Okay? So, let me start with the Moors. We're going to have the Moors joining us. Julia and Jamila are going to join us. Then we have Badoy and Linda joining us this evening. And then we also have Tiana and the Clays joining us. So we have somebody that's coming in. So you're going to see your body kind of run in and sit down. But that's okay. That's okay. We love it. We love it. So how is everyone doing this evening?
Great.
Wonderful.
Great.
Awesome.
I'm good. I'm
Pretty
so
good.
happy he is here. So I'm so happy that we get to have this talk. So I'm excited. So before we get started and everything, I would love for everybody to go around, introduce yourselves, where you're from, your name, and how long you've been together. And we'll start at the top. So we'll start at the Moors and then we'll go on down.
All right. So, hi, I am Tawana Kisses Moore.
And I am Cicely Moore.
We have been together for 15 years. We've been married for 10 years, and we will make 11 years on December 22nd next month. So, we live and reside in Louisiana. I'm from Lafayette. And
I'm from Iowa, Louisiana, which is a small town right by Lake Charles.
Yeah.
But we've been living in the Baton Rouge area for about 15 years or longer.
Yeah. So we're original country girls, but we're here in the city. So.
Oh, nice, excellent. 15 years. That's so beautiful. Okay, if I could have Julian and Jamila. Go ahead.
Okay, how you doing? I'm Julian.
And I'm Jamila.
You can get the details.
Okay, so we're going to address the elephant in the room. So my husband, we've been married for 2 years. My husband is actually transgender.
Okay.
I am originally from Denver, Colorado, and he is from Staten Island, New York. We actually met at a Greek LGBT crossing, and time is relative for us. We're of a certain age. We're of that certain age, and we found that after a lot of conversation that we were for each other, and that's kind of where we are now.
Oh, I'm excited about that. That's so beautiful. That is so beautiful. So I'm gonna go down to those of y'all who are in Atlanta, Georgia, know them as your favorite gay aunties. I'm gonna bring on Miss Badoy and Miss Linda.
Thank you. I'm Badori Oyana, and
I'm Linda,
originally from New York,
California.
And we've been married almost 15 years. And we met in church. Hallelujah.
Party.
So, Yeah, we're just happy to be here and share our experience and stories with you guys.
Amazing, amazing. And
Awesome.
if Miss Tiana and Clay, if you could go ahead and introduce you and your wife, so when she comes in, well, we're gonna get on her when she comes in. You want to answer that question, if you
Oh,
could
she gonna be flying in here, y'all. She's so
start.
bad. She had a last minute thing she had to do, but well, I'm Tiana, and my wife's name is Clay. We've been together for 11 years now. We've been married for 5. It became 5 in May. And we met on Facebook, like
Awesome.
probably like 18 years ago. So
Wow.
Wow.
yes, and we would start out as friends, and then we started dating, and it's history from there.
That's
Awesome.
that is amazing. Okay, so I'm glad we got it because, like I said, with this conversation, it's good to have a wide range of how long everybody's been together and how everybody's met. So I know the answers and everything are going to range. So this is amazing. I like this. So I want to kind of start off with like one of those. We're going to start off with softball questions, I guess you could say. But one question that a lot of people ask me to ask is that with your relationship where it is now, like what hmm, I guess I could say like what advice would you have liked to have before you actually married your significant other? And if this is your first or second marriage, you can say that as well. But what advice do you think you would have liked to have before you got into your marriage? And anybody can start.
Mm.
I know that's a thinker, isn't it?
Well, so my wife is not here, but she would have answered this question the same way I would have, because this is both of our second marriage. And I don't really think that there's really any advice that anybody could have given me for me per se, because before I got married, I never really saw like long-term relationships or a successful marriage. So nobody could actually give me advice about marriage, because certainly not from nobody that I knew. I didn't know anybody that was married. I didn't know anybody that was in like long-term relationships or anything like that. But I did give myself advice from what I experienced from my first marriage. And that was to just be true to myself and never allow anybody to change me from who I am versus who they wanted me to be, because it doesn't work out that way.
Absolutely. That's actually really sound advice. Okay, anyone else want to chime in on that?
I guess I would say I will definitely agree with Tiana when she says like you can't really get advice for your situation, because I don't feel like any relationship is like a cookie cut situation. You have to really just kind of like take the time to do shadow work and just like understand your person, understand yourself with that person, and kind of know your deal breakers, things
Mm.
that you're willing to deal with and not deal with, and just kind of build your own blueprint, not according to anyone else. Because I think sometimes people's biggest misconception is that they want to mimic or model a couple, and it's like that's doomed for not being successful, because it's like there's no such thing, in
Mm.
my opinion.
Okay, okay. Anyone else like to chime in on that one?
This is my second marriage, and I believe that when you are ready and you meet each other, that's and it's organic. That's where you really
The magic.
the magic actually absolutely happens. You know what I mean? You done been through some things, and for us, we are of a very certain age. Okay, we talking about late 50s and 60s, right? So when we got together, it was total time out for games and playing, and you know, I wanted to know certain things about my wife, which, you know, I was like, why did your last relationship end? And were you in that relationship? Not about the person, but
Right.
where were you in that experience? And what did you gain
Why
from
not?
that? What did you learn from that? You know? So most of the time people are talking about their exes and it's always the ex, but
Right.
never talking about, you know, the things that they contributed to or
Correct.
didn't contribute, you know?
Right.
So
Absolutely.
so I think we were just ready and we were at that place with each other and just real and said, you know, let's jump at it. So 3 months later we did. Yeah.
I would
Okay.
say I would say for us it was very unique because we were already in our 40s when we met. This is my second marriage and his first. So it was, and not only that, but at the time we were long distance. So communication was everything. So if there was one thing that I could tell anybody,
Yes.
um, communication is key.
Yes.
If
Yes.
you, I just talked to a friend of mine today, and I literally was telling her because she's got that new relationship energy going, and I told her keep
Yes.
talking,
Right.
Yes.
Mhm.
Right.
you know, keep talking.
For me, I think a big thing would be because I remember telling her that I look at marriage and relationships like a career. Um, because we all know you have to put in work for your relationship, right?
Right.
However, when we go to our regular jobs, I like to use analogies for everything. When we go to our regular jobs, if you're not happy at your job, all you do is work. You're not looking at the long term effects. You're not looking at the longevity of what you're doing, you know. But when you're banking in on your career, you know, you're giving it your all and you're understanding that your career is ever changing and you're doing everything you can to keep up with the changes, you know, to
Right.
keep up with the motif of what's going on around you throughout those changes. So my
Yes.
biggest thing was for me, besides it being one and done, this is my career, you know, and I put my passion, my all into it. So if you don't look at it the same, then it's not going to work between us, you
Right.
know, because you know, you hear people talk about, oh, we just grew apart, and I'm not saying that that's not true, that people don't grow apart from each other, you know, but if this is something that, or someone that I really mean to spend the rest of my life with, then we have to understand that there's going to be times that we're going to change. Something's going to change. You know,
That's
what
right.
you're into today is going to change. You know, even something as simple as what your food likes are. Because every 7 years, we know your taste buds change. So what I like 7 years from now, I'm not going to like, or I may not like 7 years from
Right.
now. You know, so understanding that and having the ability to change up my appetite and change my palate. What does the palette of our relationship look like? What does the palette of our marriage look like? How are we changing and seasoning that?
Right.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love those answers. So another one that people talk about, because you know, with relationships and love, I think those of us like myself who are single, we kind of look at people who are married and idolize the couple, like you had said previously. Like everybody looks at couple goals, couple goals. For a long time, Will and Jada was couple goals. They not couple goals no more. But
Right.
like for a long time, you know what I'm saying? Beyonce and Jay Z are couple goals. Like you have these couples that you are like, oh my God, everything is so perfect, and then you find out later it's not.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, I think it's good. You know, we talked about communication. So with that, can anybody tell you like how important is communication in your actual relationship? And anybody can start there.
Everything, everything. Like she said, we were long distance at first, right? So you know, you if you look at the youth of today, right? You know, you see them, they get on the phone, they get in these relationships, they live on the phone, right? They live on the phone, they live on FaceTime, they go to sleep and all that. We actually did that, you know, and that was something that I definitely was not used to, you know. So, because I was in living in North Carolina, she was here in the Atlanta area, and we both was able to be on the phone literally all day from the time she put out into the atmosphere that she was interested in me, and me sopping that up like a biscuit. We literally lived on we literally lived
That's
on the
right.
phone, and I'm a barber by trade. That's one of the things I do. So I was able to stay on the phone. So when I say we talked nonstop, we was on the phone. That earbud was in my ear. If I had a client that was one that would converse with me, she would literally just be in the background, continue with her day. Like it was like we were in each other's presence, but we was, in distance from each other. But in everything we do, we have to have that communication, because my my favorite thing is everything is relative. Everything, perception is everything, but even that is relative, because I may perceive what you're telling me now one way, but 3 hours from now, something may have happened and to me, to where now my perception of that has changed. So everything you just told me, I'm going to look at it differently. It may be something that I look at, that I take in, that I like, or it may not be relative to my needs at that moment. And if we're not communicating that, we're not going to understand. And now it's either going to be a bitter moment. Maybe I hurt her feelings, and even with her explaining what I may have did, I may not understand where she's coming from, or I may feel that I understand, but all of that being relative to what she feels and what's going on and where we may be, all of that can play a part. So if we're not communicating, it's gonna be faulty every step of the way, and it's ever changing. So you have to communicate. You have to. I don't understand how people don't, but you have to. And I will ask 21 questions constantly, and I'm not gonna let it go till I understand. I don't care how minute it may seem. If I don't understand, I'm gonna keep asking until I grasp that understanding.
And will.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm that person too. So I have to piggyback off of what you said and say that I'm an over communicator, if that makes any sense to anyone. So I'm that person that does the check-ins. I don't assume anything. And I think we get so comfortable because we've been together for so long. You feel like you already know what your spouse may think or what they may say. And then sometimes they just surprise you, because we have to remember that, we're going to meet like 5,000 different people in the course of our relationship, because life happens, we grow, we experience things, and from that kind of molds us for the next level of whatever that is to come. And remember, we're two trying to be one, and that's always a difficult task. So we do have to communicate. Because just because you think it, just because you feel it, that may be your truth, but that may not be your spouse's truth. And
Right.
sometimes it's hard to say. So even with communication, I don't just talk about it. Like if I feel like we can't talk at that moment, I might send a biography, you know what I mean? Like a text message with 5,000 words or less, like an essay, right? I may send an email. I might leave even a letter, on the bed. So,
Hmm.
I'm always that person that looks into, not just one way to communicate, but several ways, because sometimes we just not having it. I'm telling you, we all go through that, right?
Right.
So we all have those moments where today is just not, I'm not there. I don't have the capacity to deal with you in this today. You know what I'm saying? But do we ever say it that nicely? Absolutely not. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes not saying anything is also a form of like, boom, that punch, right? Because you feel it in your gut. Like, silence sometimes screams. So, when we talk about communication, it's not just, like let's just sit down and talk about it. I'm talking about it gets it gets all the way down to it. And
Yeah.
I'm your person, I'm a lot like you. I need to understand now and understand why, what, when, how. Like I'm trying to do it. You know what I'm saying? If the Stark has to bring the baby with the letter in his hand, I need that too. Like, give me all that, because I need to understand what's happening.
Yeah.
So, and I like real time things. Like, I like for things to happen in real time, but you can't press what's different. So you have to learn your person and know how to be able to get in, because the goal is always resolution.
Right.
It's not about right and wrong. And I just wish we could erase that, right? Because so many people it's always based upon you were right, I was wrong. It's not about that. It's always about what's true for you is true for you. Like you can't change someone's feelings because we all have experienced different things and we come from different backgrounds with different beliefs. And I mean, let's just be real. When we met each other, some things were really cute and then they get annoying as we keep going on and on. But we agree to that. Guess what? We sign up for it and we play into it whether we believe it or not. So
yeah. I think with that too, with communication, it comes with transparency too.
absolutely.
Like, because you tend to want to not say certain things because you don't want to hurt their feelings, but that really just makes it worse. Like you have to be
Indeed.
very open and honest about your feelings and everything when it comes to how you're feeling about certain things in your relationship. So always being transparent is very important because you're not going to get anywhere if you're trying to sugarcoat it.
I had issues expressing feelings when we first got together, and I realized that was inherited. My father's a pastor of a church, and you don't express feelings. You get in there and you get it done. I played the piano for him, so everywhere he went, I played for him. The choir, I played for them. And you don't say no, and you don't explain why the no. So you don't explain your feelings. So it was a turn because Badori would ask why. That would frustrate the hell out of me.
Yes.
It's like, what do you mean why? It's just no, that's my feeling. I don't want to, or no, I don't want to explain why. Just leave me alone now. And I had the courage just to say no, So, yeah, that's enough. But she would gently, caress and kind of go, yeah, but you gotta, because I want to know. I want to know you. I want to know how you process. I want to know how,
absolutely.
She helped me a lot with being able to express my feelings. And even now I get back into that rut with, I don't feel like it right now explaining why. I'm old. That's the reason.
I find that speaking to your partner's spirit and not to their ego
absolutely
helps tremendously because you bypass, you're not in this place where you're putting them in a defensive position.
Correct.
Right. You are being, so I'm the first one, if anybody, to be vulnerable because I'm going to be naked, before you. So this is what you're getting, and I want to know what I'm getting. So, therein lies that vulnerable part. And she had to start to take off some things, and it made her look at some things, some feelings and things that she had suppressed and pushed down. And now, having the freedom to express herself and also to be able to express it with me is important. So I believe that helped for our longevity of our relationship big time.
So I can say that just to kind of piggyback off you all, I can say that I wasn't always the greatest communicator in the beginning. And I think that may have stemmed from my past marriage. I'm more of a doer. So there's different ways to communicate. So I'm more of a doer. So I may not be able to put into words how I feel, but I'm going to make sure that I physically show you how I feel. And so, but over time, I had to learn that one of my love language, her biggest love language, is words of affirmation. And so she helped me grow in that area to be able to provide her with words of affirmation. And then I kind of chuckled when you said you have to talk to her spirit. So I had to talk to the queen and my wife when we have disagreements, because if I talk to Tiana, it ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work. If I talk to Tiana, a totally different person when we're in the heat of the moment. But
Absolutely.
when I talk to the queen in her, then she can definitely understand where I'm coming from, and we can have a reasonable conversation. But
Ain't no lies there.
That's it. That's all.
And that's great. And that's actually a great segue into the next question because to go back to how people think relationships are so perfect and that everything is done, they don't really think that people still have conflicts in this relationship. So I wanted to so how do you resolve conflicts or issues with each other now? Like at this stage, what does your process look like?
I would say for us, because we're definitely the newlyweds in the group, we still give each other the grace to learn each other. Like he was saying, this is a career choice for us. So we give each other the grace to say, okay, I don't understand this. Help me understand it if I can. And even if I don't agree with it, okay, now I've learned something new about him. He's learned something new about me. So, being in that, because our courtship was very short. And in our communications and in our talking, we agreed we will always give each other the grace to learn, the grace to continue to learn about each other, because we're ever changing as human beings to begin with. So being able to give each other the grace to learn as a couple, wanting to share this journey of life with each other, we have to continue to ever listen. And, even if I need 5 minutes to myself, give me 5 minutes to myself, and then we can talk about it. And, that way, because when you're mad, you're not hearing to understand, you're hearing to respond.
To attack.
So we have to pause a lot of times and say, okay, this is what I heard. This is what I understand. Is that what you mean? Because if we're just if we're just hearing just to respond back, it's going to be a mess. It's always going to be a mess. So yeah, for us, it's definitely, in terms of our communication and things like that, it's just the grace to learn.
It's also, for me, it's also about knowing and understanding not just the communicating with the how you do it per se physically, but also the how, what type of communicator are you in terms of, are you an argumentative person? Do you like to argue? Do you like to explain? Are you the person that tends to apologize all the time? Are you looking for the feedback of what happened, to understand and respond, or are you looking for the feedback to hold something over somebody's head? Understanding all those key points really makes a difference, because when you add in somebody's mental, are there any mental illnesses there? Are there any traumas that you have to deal with before you can even address the situation? All of those points make a huge difference in how the delivery of what you're going through is, contained.
Totally agree.
Yes. Yep. That's so true.
The Moors or whoever's next.
You want? Okay. For me, I know this sounds strange, but in the beginning, of course, I was definitely a hothead. I was definitely that person to just I go from 0 to 1,000, right? And so I've been doing the life coaching, and we do relationship coaching, and it's so crazy because now when we try to have arguments, they don't really work, right? Because we have all these tools that tell us what to do, right?
We have to apply it.
So I find myself she's talking, because this is a rarity, right? So she's talking and I'm writing, right? And I'm so I heard you say, and she just gives me that look, and she said, yeah, that's what I said. And I write it down, and I go back, and I'm looking in my notes and reading on some things, and I said, look, this is the technique, and this is the thing we should do. She'll come in from work, and I have all the worksheets printed, and I'm all right, you sit over here, I'm gonna sit over here. Here's some wine, we're gonna talk about it. Once upon a time, it did not Never. That would have never happened. Okay. Just know that. So now I find myself like, if we are in a dilemma, I find myself researching and looking for different methods or ways, something creative, something different, something where we can actually, you know what I'm saying, utilize this, not even realizing that it's a real tool, right? That's helping, but it kind of like diminishes all the darkness and kind of turns the light up, right? Because we found ourselves laughing at certain questions, or we'll be like, you saw that? That was weird, huh? So right there, it's just like everything's melting away. So I just, at this point, it's kind of hard to have an argument.
Yeah,
it's rough. It's rough
So
to
we have
argue.
a question.
But once upon a time, it was nothing.
Oh.
It's like, what happened? I heard
Do
you
y'all coach each other?
What you did? What you said?
Do you guys find yourselves coaching each other? Because we're coaches too.
Oh yes, we all the time.
Yeah. It's so crazy. That's why y'all laugh. Like everybody, you laughed immediately. Like you find yourself doing this kind of stuff, right? And it's just hard to like get into it. And I think too, with time, I don't know. I mean, I remember, looking at older people and they just so grumpy and grouchy, right? And they fuss at one another or whatever. And I'm just like, does that really happen?
I don't want to be that person.
But I don't know. For us, it's like the older we get, the more we can't do that. It's like we can't do it. It's hard.
Yeah.
It is. And it's like to piggyback off of you saying looking for tools. So I found myself, true story, one day, I did a sticker therapy exercise with her when we were going through. And I kind of interjected it without her realizing we were doing it, because the whole point of it, the whole point of the project is to do it without realizing you're doing therapy. Right. So, get some stickers, and, you do it in 2 sessions, and, you get a set of stickers, I get a set of stickers, and you just put stickers on the cardboard and just lay them where you go. You don't say anything, and you just, create the pattern. And then afterwards you talk about it. So how did it make you feel when I did this with the sticker? How did it make you feel when I did this with the sticker?
Right.
Then the next one you do, and then it's, you talk about it, but you plan out what you're going to do, right?
Right.
And then you see how that plan works. And then, okay, how did you feel now that we talked about the plan of it? And did the plan go according to your plan, or did it deviate from that? So it's real interesting, sometimes like that, because you find yourself, like you say, coaching each other. And we have to be like, okay, in this moment, do not coach me, or we can't coach.
That's what you say too.
Husband and wife roles here.
And it's important. You have to realize the roles that you play, because it's multiples. It's like, look, I'm coming to you as my wife today. In this moment, I'm your wife. I'm coming to you. Yes. So that's super important. Yeah.
I think for me, when it comes to a disagreement, I go back to when I was a kid, and my mom would be like, choose your battles wisely.
Absolutely. That's another great one.
And I have to ask myself that question, because I'm still a hothead. I still go from 10 to 1,000 real quick. So I'm still a work in progress.
That's all right. Praise Jesus with the T's, okay? The T's.
But I like to say that I'm the calm to her storm. So I'm a Libra, so I'm very balanced and laid back, and like I can talk to her just like this. So baby, you having a good day?
Sometimes that's a problem.
But that's the thing, right? That's
it's a problem because you're too calm. You're too calm. You're not reacting to what I'm saying. And because I'm very passionate about how I feel,
a lot of passion.
My tone might come up a little bit, but that's not me in an angry way. That's just me being passionate about what I'm saying.
That's right.
But because I know that I get passionate about things that we're talking about that's important, I have to ask myself that question. Choose your battle wisely. Is this conversation worth you bringing it to an argument? Can we just talk about it?
Absolutely.
Is it going to go to another level? If it's going to go to another level, I'm not in
That's it.
it. Not in this moment. I'm not in the mood.
I think arguments are good though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it really does allow you to, experience the thoughts, reactions, energy with your partner. it's how we argue, right?
That's
It's
it.
how we have disagreements. So for us, I know one of the things that we practice and have practiced and practiced and practiced has been holding space, right, for each other. Um, allowing the other to express what they're feeling and hearing, because I have to sit and listen, right? Because I am a recovering hothead.
All right.
Right?
That right there.
I have
Right
to
there.
sit and listen with my heart, because
Yes.
your mind will tell you certain things, and you like, oh, it's about to be on. Right? But I know my wife's heart,
Right.
and that makes a difference. It makes a difference when you know their heart, because she can screw up and then be like, babe, I really didn't mean it that way. I was over here, and this is why this occurred, right? If I don't know her heart, then it's not safe for me.
That.
Okay, it's not safe for me.
That.
And then that's when you get a fight.
Ooh, we.
Is when it's not safe.
It ain't safe.
It ain't safe.
So it has to be safe.
Yes.
So we had to take off some things, to get to a place to be able to, really be able to hear, listen, hear, all that good stuff, the heart. And that allows me to, be in that position.
And you have to come correct, because if Badori's going to take the time to listen to me, I'm not going to throw out no bullshit, because she will pick that apart and it will be double time. It will be double time. So I have to come honest. I have to come authentically. I have to come. You can't step to the plate and not be able to express what's really going on. And if she's really listening, and when really listening, she's really listening with her heart, and I'm coming from my heart. And also being a psychic, there ain't no lying. You can't lie. You can't lie. You can't sit there and say, I'm all right.
So
all the answers will come and going, she's not right.
So we actually have a question for Badori and Linda. People want to know, how do you create that space to be safe and know that your person's heart? So how do you create that space with each other?
Go ahead. Communication. Honest, clear communication.
No bullshit.
With
no bullshit. Right.
And love.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think you got to come in peace too.
Yes.
And peace.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like in comforting.
Sure.
With that rah rah.
Yeah.
It doesn't work for me.
Because when Badori, if she gets upset, there's been times where she gets upset and her passion comes out. I'm shaking in my boots. I'm going, oh my God, I have opened the can and I cannot find the top. And I'm literally shaking. And one time she saw me shaking and she said, I'm sorry. And I was like, sorry for what? I'm trying to figure out how to fix this, how to calm her down, she saw me shaking and she said, that was a lot. I was a lot. And so that's why she says she's recovering, because it affects me to where I'm going, oh my God, what can I do? How can I fix this? Oh, Lordy, help me. She stopped. She said, you're shaking. She said, I'm sorry. I got a little out of control. And we were able to pull ourselves back. Mm-hmm. And she was able to see my response to her having that episode.
When you know your traumas, when you know what triggers you, sometimes you don't know what you're triggered by until you are in a relationship. Right? Because everybody, when they're out and they're single on their own, they're like, "Oh, I'm good. I know me. I know me." And I said, "No, you really don't know you until you are in a partnership,
That's right.
because things come out of you, and you really didn't know." I was triggered by that. You know what I mean? So they said it was a simple story. My wife, when growing up, she was saying, I said something to her about being stupid. I said, "That's stupid." Right? So she said, "Oh my God," she took it and she was like, when she was growing up, they were, her mom took her to school and she was at the yellow door. They had different colored doors back in the 60s. Right? So they had the yellow door, and the yellow door for special kids. And so whatever special that meant, you could be specially black, whatever. But her mom said, "Don't say that. Don't say you stupid."
Right.
So that triggered, that me saying that's stupid triggered her in that moment about being called stupid.
Right.
And I was like, "Oh, so something as simple as that can trigger your
Absolutely.
partner and you don't know it."
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're like, "Well, yeah, you called me stupid." "No, I didn't call you stupid. I said that was stupid." Like that
Right.
right there is. So you got to know yourself, but you also have to know that some of the things that you're going to be healing from in this partnership comes out when you are in partnership.
Correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Excellent. So that's great. So all right, so say we've had the conflict, we're resolving it, which is really good. So and part of that you answered, like how do you bring yourselves back from that space? So say the blow up happened, you have the argument, you have your discussion, you have your pamphlets, your worksheets that you don't work through. So how do you bring yourselves back into the loving space and end it? Because it has to end. The conflict, there has to be a resolution. So how do you guys just bring yourself to the other side of it? And anyone can start with that.
Sometimes there's no resolution. Sometimes you have to agree to disagree. That,
Yes.
that's a huge thing because, and I don't want him to always agree with everything that I say, even though I'm right most of the time. But no, really, I don't want him to always agree with me because us constantly agreeing with each other makes us the same, makes it boring. If I can verbatim say exactly what he's going to say about a thing and respond exactly how he's going to respond to a thing, it kind of takes the spice out of a relationship.
Yeah.
Um, so definitely, sometimes we have to literally say, "Babe, you know what? I'm going to respectfully disagree and let it alone." And we're going to have a drink. You want me to make you a drink? You
Yeah.
know, and,
Yeah.
and you just move on. That I think for in some cases, and you're not going to find that a lot. Personally, I don't think you're not going to find that a lot. There are resolutions to conflicts and things like that, and that our big theme is communication. That's sitting down, talking about it. How do we come to some sort of resolution and agreement, and be able to move forward from that place that we were in? But you know, I think it's important that people realize that sometimes you have to lovingly and respectfully agree to disagree.
Right.
Absolutely. And I normally ask questions because I'm that person. Once it's out, I'm fine. I just can't hold on to it. I can't. That's the problem with me. I don't know how to hold it down. Like I have to say something. Like I have to say it, right? But once I say it, it's just like a burden lifted, right? And then now I just dropped all of this in her lap, and she's looking at me like, well, damn. And I'm going, okay, so, now we can go on about our day. And she's looking at me like, oh, hell
Absolutely
no,
not.
absolutely not. What's wrong? I mean,
Absolutely not.
at this point, right? So now I have to start asking questions, like, because she's a processor and I'm gunning for it. I'm shooting straight from the hip. Like, I need to go in, say it, do it. And it's like, okay, I'm back down, right? And so she's just sitting there staring at me, or like she just gets up and politely walks away, and I follow her, and I'm just like, hey, so what's up? What's going on? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's happening right now? So I've learned to give her that space that she needs. And sometimes she doesn't even know she needs the space, right? But I know she does, because I know my person, because I've watched it and I've studied it for many, many years, right? And so I go, how are you feeling in this moment? I mean, how do you want to handle this? I don't believe in not sleeping, like sleeping in separate rooms and all that stuff. I don't really believe in that kind of stuff. However, if it had to come down to that, 15 years later, I mean, I could live with it. But like, if 2-3 years, I've been like, oh, hell no, we just broke up. Oh my God, we just broke up. You know what I'm saying? But I can honestly say I ask those questions. Like, I mean, what do you have the capacity for? Like, hey, do you need a hug right now? Do you want me to hold you? Do you want me to kiss you? Like, once upon a time, all those answers was like, hell no. You know what I'm saying? But as you said, I must agree, when you know your partner's heart, when you know their intentions, it really like turns the table. You know what I'm saying? Like all the way around, because you already know what it is, right? Even though, it might have been a little barking going on. You're just like, oh, you just mad. Come on, boo. You just need a little hug and a little kiss. You know what I'm saying? After a while. So sometimes I just ask those questions. Like, I know for me, that's how I handle things, because I'm telling you, I can blow up just blow up and then come all the way down like seconds later. And
like nothing ever happened. And for me, I need the 3 Ps. Like, I need to pause, process, and come back in peace. Because it's like, you don't understand. Like, you just got real street with me. So I need to process this so I can come back and show up as your wife. Because like, you literally just showed signs that you wanted to fight me. Like, this is not okay. Like, we need to calm down and pause. Let me process this. And we're going to come back in peace where we can effectively communicate about this. Because right now, there's nothing effective about this persona that you have on. Yeah.
So we got this one rule. I know it sounds cliche, but we never go to sleep mad. And we never sleep in separate rooms. So I don't care if I call myself being stubborn and I try to fall asleep on the couch. It'll be 3:00 in the morning. And I'll feel a tap on my shoulder.
That's right.
In his bed. I know you coming to get it. But sometimes you're just not ready to talk about it right then and there.
Right.
So that's our one rule. And I can say that over the years, pride does not play a role in our marriage, because it doesn't matter if it's her or I. By the end of the night, we're communicating. Her communication, she might not be able to put it into words right then and there, but trust and believe, if she in the kitchen cooking, she's bringing me a plate, and I consider that a peace offering. So when we get to bed, I'm gonna be rubbing on the booty, because I'm like, okay, you just said you were sorry in so many words.
Yes,
right.
Food always works, right?
Indeed, like that's our rule too. Not going to bed angry and then not sleeping in somewhere else. Especially, and like for me, because that is a trauma for me, because when I was 17, I had a family member, she was 15, my cousin, we were really, really close, and we had choice words, and I wished her death. I went away for the weekend, outside of what her and I actually planned, and when I got back, I had found out that she passed away, and it was very horrific, very traumatic how she passed. So that played a part in making me the person that I am today. Yeah. So going to bed angry and not talking, that's not a thing for me.
Yeah. And your words have power.
Yes,
they
absolutely.
And I learned that through the years, and I'm learning it even more now, And she may have tried to go somewhere, and I'm right there behind you. Where you going?
Where we going?
I want to, because she'll go to the car. I'm gonna just sit in the truck. Okay, I'm gonna sit in the truck with you.
Yeah, right.
Because first of all, you're not finna sit out here in the dark alone. That's not happening.
That's right.
You
That's
know,
right.
you don't want to talk to me. Okay, fine. But I'm gonna sit right here on my phone, and then you can process, and I'll be
That's
right here.
right.
I'll be quiet. I
Yeah.
am invisible, but I
Yeah.
ain't going nowhere.
That's right.
Right.
You know, then when we go back upstairs, you know, I might make a meal or go. What you want to snack on? Okay, I'll be right back.
That's
I'm gonna go to the store. Come
Yeah.
back with a favorite snack or something. And
That's right.
we're gonna watch this good series and delve into it real deep. And then that's my peace offering.
Yep.
You know,
There
so
you go.
but not communicating, that's not a thing because I cannot and I will not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The moral of the story, guys: food and snacks work. Y'all hear that? Everybody,
Yeah,
everybody's like, "Ooh, bring me that."
yes. So, okay, so we're gonna get into because you kind of alluded to it a little bit, Jamila. So with a lot of we have the newlyweds, and then everybody else has been together for quite some time. So, like, how do you keep the relationship spicy? I mean, 15 years, 5 years. Like, how do you keep it going? Because that's a long time for some people. And so, how do you manage that along with everything else that you do?
Well, I'm gonna be the first one to be transparent and say that it's hard. It's hard
Definitely.
because every day you have certain things tugging at you. We have kids, we have grandbabies, own businesses. So it's a lot of things pulling at you. But we definitely try our hardest to have like date night at least once a week. Watch a series together. So we have this thing like you can't watch a new series if I'm not
About
home.
me.
Yes.
Right.
And I gotta try to put the pieces.
That's the law. That must be the relationship law.
Right.
Right.
That is in the relationship constitution.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I love it.
But we were just talking about that laying in the bed. We were like, oh my goodness, we are really slacking on our time. Like really on
Yeah.
our time. So that made us snap back into reality last night and say, we gotta get this together. Yes.
Yeah,
Right.
we definitely being the newlyweds here, you know, that was definitely something that we touched on and makes set a piece because you know, like with us being life coaches and sometimes being pulled in different directions and sometimes coaching together, we, you know, came up with a plan that no matter how many times I might be on the road or, you know, in a conference or whatever, we must come back and at least 1 week out of that month is dedicated to us. You know, whether it's a date night or somewhere during the week or we not turn down, but no, turn down options, you know, no, I can't or we can't deal with that on this occasion because, you know, this is our time, you know, because, you know, adult children, minor kids, you know, fur babies, grandkids, you know, all of that does take your time. And for us, we are also polyamorous. So we also have other partners. And, you know, it's a matter of not only do we have to have our time, you know, we have to make sure we have our time with our partners. And it's a matter of how are you and your partner, how are y'all doing? Are y'all okay? Because if y'all are not okay, we may not be okay because now you done brought that energy of the not being okay over here and home. You know, does what y'all got going on? And for us, you know, we are very kitchen table, you know, because, you know, health conditions and, you know, it's important for me, my wife has MS, it's important for me that if she's with her other partner and she has a flare up and then maybe have to go to the hospital, I need to know that you're able and you feel comfortable calling me to let me know, hey, Jamila's in the hospital or she's on her way or this is going on and I don't know what to do. And I can be like, okay, this is what you need to do, da 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 da. Okay, let's go. You know, I just came out the hospital. I just spent the last 2 weeks in the hospital because I had a mild stroke, you know, and my other partner, you know, she informed that person, hey, you know, Julian's in the hospital. They said this, that, and the third, you know, and being able to have those communication ties to understand that all can create that spice, you know, that, you know, we don't all have to be friends, but at least we know that, you know, be aware of one another. But being able to go out and make time for ourselves keeps it going. You know, what do you got going on today? Because like at the beginning of every month, you know, I have my whiteboard right here, and my calendar is full. My calendar is full 6 8 months already down the line.
That's
You
it.
know, so we have to know. Okay, well, this day, I got this. What you got that day? Okay, let's get it on the calendar because her rule is if it's not on the calendar, it doesn't exist. It's not
That's
happening.
it. Same here.
And there's plenty of times I'll be like, but it's here on my calendar. No, no, it is not on the calendar on the wall. So I have to remember it has to go on the wall because if it's not there, it does not happen. So
For me,
just different
I
things
don't.
like that, and having that, having that understanding that we still have to have our time,
Yeah.
whatever that time may be. Like it could be a movie, it could be a full outside date night, it might be an indoor date night. Because at one particular point in time, we had all the adult children here. And it's like, when I shut that door, we are off limits. I don't care what it is. If you're not dying blood, if you ain't profusely bleeding,
That's
and
right.
I ain't talking about a cycle. I mean, your limb needs to be dangling and
That's it.
it needs to be profusely bleeding. And if
That's
that's
it.
not the case, don't knock on my door. We are not here. You don't see us. But it's necessary to create these spaces for one another. It could be
Absolutely.
time together means she needs time for herself. I might need time for myself to go hang out or go be with the fellas or whatever the case is like that. And that's how you create that time, that space for each other. For us, anyway.
Okay. All right. So, Badori, Linda, how do you guys keep it spicy after 15 years?
Girl, spice is not even in our vocabulary. I'm just we still together. That's how we do it.
That's
We
the spice
still
right there, huh?
I'm too much. I'm not enough for one, and I'm too much for two. So I'm not even gonna have that headache. I tried. I thought about it. I was like, okay, we're not going poly. We're not gonna do that. So we gonna be happy together. You gonna be happy. I'm gonna be happy. That's what we gonna do. So we do whatever we like. And that's it. Because we just too damn old for a lot of the stuff. I'm just saying. It's just like too damn.
Late night.
I think we have moments when we are very intimate. We always doing little things, pass by. I drop something on the floor and I go to pick it up. She's back there trying to dry hump me. And it's just
I am.
just always, in each other's energy.
Yes,
right.
yes.
Yeah.
Both of us
Right.
have a good day, and
We share
dinner's
it.
cooked, we giggling and kikiing like high school
Girls
and
and boys.
and boys. And I find a good movie, she don't like it, then we'll change, and
Or you go to the room and watch what you want to watch, and I do what I do out here. Like that part, you have to have some level of being an individual, right?
Absolutely.
Because I don't like Star Wars and all of those kinds of movies. I'm not into all of that spaceship shit and all of that. So, but she like
Spaceship shit.
He like it. So I said, go for it. Like you go watch it over there and I'm gonna come over here.
Yeah.
Then I like,
Yeah.
I like crazy little dumb shit. She don't like that. But it's
It's
you're
a balance.
learning each other.
Yeah.
You've learned each other and you know what the other one like. Yeah. So I don't take her, if she wants to go in the room and do what she want to do, girl, go for it.
I agree.
I'm just don't hurt yourself.
I agree. We do the same thing.
It's like I got B rated Sundays
Right.
because I like B rated movies.
And I do not.
So on Sunday has been
Exactly.
delegated B rated movies.
Exactly.
So that's but outside of that, we got a lot of things we do like and we'll watch it, but there's them times where
Exactly.
and I
Yeah. And
And it's
intimacy
okay.
is more than just the sex.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
Right.
sex slows
Absolutely.
down as you get older. It does. And your relationship as your relationship gets older, it kind of slows down a little bit. But the intimacy is more of talking and sharing with somebody, being able to share things that I can't
Right.
just tell everybody, because you got a lot of different people in your life, and people's capacity is not there. So being able to sit down and just share with my partner
Yeah.
and talk about certain things, and that, and she is a sage to me, and I'm a sage to her. So we do
Yes.
that as well with each other. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Awesome, awesome. And the Morris, how do you guys keep it spicy after 15 years?
Well, you know what? To be honest, like real talk, we are like some of the weirdest people ever. I don't know. So, I think I don't know if I mentioned this, but in the beginning, I did. I don't think I did, but we did meet the same way, like Greek affiliation. So, um, I know that Cicely's organization is very active, and we travel a lot. We do a lot of things, and I know sometimes we just do weird and crazy shit that we used to do from back in the day, like 10, 15 years ago. I mean, we've had some wild and crazy times. Sometimes we revisit those places, not intentionally, but because the chemistry is still there. And then a lot of times, a lot of our thing is just intimacy, just like you said, like just being in each other's company. Sometimes we find ourselves like, just like, it's like we're the only two people in the room, right? And there's 1,000 people there, and everybody's looking at us like, y'all still like each other like that? And we look at each other,
Indeed.
Yeah.
we really do like each other, huh? Oh, she's my friend today. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, for us, it's more about intimacy. Now, I can't lie and say that intimacy doesn't always lead to the next part, but a lot of
Right.
times the intimacy is the biggest deal. Like just being wrapped up, like that happens a lot, but it happens naturally.
Right.
But let me say this: we have seasons of that, just like we have seasons you know what I'm saying? Winter, spring, summer, fall. That's the same with relationships. And I think that's another thing that I try to reiterate to people that we coach and that we talk to. It's like, you can't just give up on your relationship because you don't feel something this month, or you don't feel something.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Cycles.
It's seasons. So, you have to give it time. You can't just take off running at the first sign of trouble, because that's not what a marriage is about. And so I'm telling you, it's work. Period. It is work. And if you really love who you are with, and not love like the love that we talk about, I'm talking about the love that the Bible talks about, that kind of love, then you'll be here for the long haul. You know what I'm saying? You'll be there for the seasons. And a lot of times you just your person. Like it becomes so like, I swear I could hear something going on in the back of a event, and I don't even turn around, and I go, I know it's mine, right? It's mine. Mine doing all that. And everybody starts laughing. I say it's mine, and they go, it's yours. And I say, I know. You know what I'm saying? Because I know it's her. Like, she's just, like, she likes to have a good time, and she likes to love on everybody and want everybody to love on each other. So she's always that peacemaker in the group. And some people, they don't do too well with that. So I could always tell when I say, I already know it's mine. She's back there kumbaya and mending things together and trying to sew people in love and all that. So anyways, I think, to answer the question, I think it's more about our intimacy and our chemistry is still there. And it's so weird because sometimes I look at it and I go, girl, like, how did you do that? Because I don't know. I was a different type of person, before I met you. I didn't really do all these extra things, right? But I think it's a lot of what Jamila, that's how you pronounce your name, Jamila said, like, I still need a little bit of bite. You know what I'm saying? To some degree, I still need to kind of like, have somebody that can reel me in. You know what I mean? Because I mean, I can be untamed at times, and I've been untamed a lot before. So I still need somebody who can still, like, reel me in.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this. I watched my grandparents be married for 45 years before my grandfather passed. I can say my other grandfather, he was married 7 times, right? So I had the opportunity to see very different kinds of relationships. And even with my parents, very different relationships. One thing that I noticed that, and I tell people all the time, I accidentally manifested him, literally. And but what I knew for sure was that I needed a person in my life who could say my name or whatever term of endearment it was, that if I was out the box, out of pocket, because my grandmother is a Scorpio like me. And she'll be doing her Scorpio thing, and my grandfather could just say "ma," and it wasn't what he said; it was how he said it. And when I look back on it, being older now, I was like, that was shit. It wasn't what he said; it was how he said it. Even when she was wilding out, And I found that he can do that. As long as he don't call me by my government name. Wait a minute, who you talking to? We don't do that. But it's sometimes intimacy is just really, really sexy in how you communicate.
That's it.
And that doesn't necessarily have to lead to sex, but it's sexy.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yes, actually, and you know what? That actually reminds me of that interview that Jill Scott did on the Breakfast Club when she said, "If you can tell me what to do, you can tell me what to do. But if you can't tell me what to do, you can't tell me what to do."
That's it.
And how is that same adage? It's like, oh, you can bring me back. Like, okay, I got it. All right, so we're actually going to give you guys a really quick break so you can get up, kind of stretch and everything. I'm actually going to bring Amber on, who is the founder of Real Boys Talk. So I'm gonna give the couples a break for a second, but we're gonna bring them right back. So thank you. I'm gonna have you guys come down really quickly. Amber, hello. Oh, you're on mute. So
okay. Hello. I've been cracking up over here. I've been taking notes and everything. Look, I just if you are watching this. Again, our motto is take what you're learning here, the jewels that are being dropped, because they dropping them. I mean, they dropping tons of them. Even if you're in a marriage, they dropping jewels for you. I'm not in one, so they dropping jewels for me to get prepared for one. And I've always said I've known the Clays for a very long time, or for a moment, I guess you could say. And I've always said, when you see them out there, you see the hard work that they've had to do to be who they are and be that loving couple. But I know it's not easy. I know they could have argued on the way to wherever we were supposed to be meeting up. But when it's time for them to be together, they're together. They're on one plane, and then they work everything out. And I'm seeing that here. I am so excited. Of everything that I'm hearing. So are we gonna tell people what happens next week?
Yes, we can tell everybody what happens next week. So we're gonna get some announcements. So yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay, so next week, same day, Thursday, same time, we are doing End of the Road. What do I do now? Because a lot of times, as you have met the cast, or what we're gonna say our cast in the past that that we've been working with and that you've seen, we've all been talking about where we are healing in that process, but we never told you what happened the next day when shit went awry, it went bad, it went to the left, we ended, and we're not going to just talk about lovers ending. When it comes to end of the road, what about family? Sometimes you got to let your family go. I mean, it's ugly, sometimes you gotta let your best friend go, or a friend. So we're gonna cover all of those, and I think that's something the same time, same day, next Thursday, which is November the 9th. We are doing End of the Road. What do I do now? Because we want to help you take the next step. As many people know, I watch a lot of the TikTok, so I'm looking at different things, and I'm seeing still hurt people. Seriously hurt people, and they're not acknowledging it. They're going, it's her fault, she did this to me, and then they go into the next person and thinking that next person is going to make them feel better, and then you don't, and then we have bad relationships. And so hopefully those people are watching today, let us all hope, and we'll be able to see some really, really great and amazing relationships. These guys are amazing on all the levels, the years, the lot of years, not a lot of years, how they met each other. Oh, Look, like I said, I've been taking notes. I am ready. So my unicorn, I know you out there, girl. I'm ready. I'm taking notes. I'm
Yes,
ready.
yes.
So hey.
Absolutely. So yeah, so tune in November 9th. We're going to talk about the end of the road. I will be moderating that one, but also providing some additional ways to help you when you're transitioning and ending those relationships, be it familial, be it, intimate partnerships. I mean, happens when you lose a friendship? Because I know for me personally, with the exception of maybe two relationships, me losing a friend was much harder than me losing a relationship. So those are things to talk about to and kind of give yourself things to think about when you go past, so you don't leave bitter and missing whatever lesson you were supposed to learn from that person. Because I firmly believe that some people are here for lessons. So there may have been something you needed to learn, but because you are not looking at it that way, and you're very broken and kind of moving from one person to the next, you're repeating these same cycles because you're not learning that lesson. So we're going to help with that.
And
So
I
I'm
really do
really
want to talk
excited about that.
A lot of people talk, the question that people ask, and we've all been asked it, and we've all asked it: are you over your ex? This is one of those moments that you'll have, because I truly believe that it's not so much the person as it is the relationship and where you are and where you were in. Are you over that piece? And are you healed from what those actions and your accountability and all of that? So I'm excited about next Thursday as well. And I think with this, with everyone seeing these amazing couples and marriages, hopefully when you get to next Thursday, this will help you to understand where you can have. Yes, I do. I look at all four of these relationships. I envy every single one of them. I'm jealous. I want it. I want every aspect of what they have, because good, bad, and the ugly, right? But I got to be able to do what we're going to talk about next Thursday, so hopefully this is an encouragement for everyone.
Yes, yes, it is. So I'm really excited. So we got our couples. We're about to bring them on here. So definitely make sure you stay tuned. Definitely go to www.realboystalk.com or not .org, correct? And go to RSVP so that you can RSVP for next week. And then also in December, we have another one that we're doing talking about parenting and parenting in these relationships. And then also, it's a little early, but we got some things coming in February. I'm just saying that. So get ready. Make sure that you go to that page, follow everything so that you stay on point, because we are going to be doing these in person. So
Yes.
You are going to see us out and about. So make sure you stay tuned for all of that.
Yeah, you guys asked for it, and when we were Labor Day weekend, Atlanta Black Pride, you guys asked for us to come to your cities, and we heard you. So we got big announcements. So you want to be on that I believe it's December the 16th, parenting.
Yes,
it is definitely
actually the 12th, I believe. It is December.
12th.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. It's 14th. So December 14th is actually that day. We're going to get together. So it's December 14th. So you definitely want to tune into that show, because we have a huge announcement that's coming up for that one. So definitely make sure. And that's the one surrounding parenting, because we definitely want to talk about relationships and people who are dating with children and how that goes, because that's going to be another big topic one for us. So I'm really excited. I think our couples look like they're ready to come back. So we're gonna bring Cupid back towards the end of it, just to let everybody know we're gonna go a little bit more towards the end. We're gonna actually take questions from the comments. So if you have any questions for any of the couples, we're gonna try to get to as many as we can. So be thinking about those, and I'll let everybody know when it's time for the Q&A part. Okay. All right. So we're gonna say goodbye to Cupid. We're gonna bring back the Moors. We're gonna bring back all of our couples, actually. So hello, everyone. Thank you so much for your patience with us. Oh, we got a couple people that got up, so we're going to wait. So this portion of it, because I absolutely love just love in general. So this part of it is going to be all about the love. So one of the questions that I wanted to ask is, how do you show up for your partner when they need that? How do you show up for them? Like, you can just give a quick example of what you do for each other, and anybody can start at this point.
How do you show up for me? I think
Authentically and however she needs me. So, for example, when I was in the hospital, she was having a moment. May I? So, her previous relationship, she was engaged, and the gentleman passed away from heart failure. So naturally, it was extra traumatic me going into the hospital, right? And so she had a moment towards the middle of it where she it finally really hit her, and she broke down, and you know I had my moment of me being annoyed because I know she was just trying to take care of me, the way a wife would take care of her spouse, and and concerned for my well-being. However, for me, there was moments where I felt it was she was being overbearing, because it was coming off as telling me what to do, but I wasn't wanting to be told what to do. A case of, okay, I'm a grown man. I know how I feel. If I feel that I need to sit down a minute, then I'll sit down a minute, but I'm okay. Um, and I had to step outside of that and step outside of what I was feeling about myself to be able to really see what she was feeling about me and how the situation was impacting her. And once I was able to do that, I was able to show up authentically the way she needed me. So, that all is really an intricate um, thing to do. It is really really hard sometimes, because we're human, and as she calls it, we have human moments. So in those moments, I may want to be what I need, but in those moments, that's more of when I need to be what she needs me to be.
Mm-hmm.
You
Right.
know, so it's all for me. Everything is all about being authentic and being transparent. And as long as I can have that authentic transparency with her, I can show up for her authentically the way she needs me to be. And through those situations, I can bring her back to where she is and where she was, so that she's no longer standing in the middle of the situations that she's in, and she's feeling more comfortable. And then we can process it together, and then we can move forward.
Absolutely. Amazing. Anyone else like to comment? How do you
I
show
think
up?
I try to show up. Um, when me and Bodori first got together, she said, "Where you're short, I'm gonna be long, and when I'm short, you're gonna be long." So we try to show up without telling each other what to do.
Mm-hmm.
We show up. I know when we first got together, she says that an important part of her person is security and um, and protection. So I show up in those areas, um, because if somebody says something off, or I'm always watching, um, what people are doing or saying, you know, and like right now at her, may I? Right now at her place of employment, you know, she's having to deal with some negative energy, so she'll come home and let it get her off of her, so I hold space, let her get it off of her. Sometimes I join in, with that's some bullshit.
Wow. Yes. Validation is
Bullshit.
everything.
Right, and right, and
Yes.
be by her side, and she can see that I'm by her side. So I try to show up as that kind of support, protection, and security. Hmm.
Well, I mean, it's easy for her to show up in that space because that's her makeup.
Yes, right.
You know,
Yes.
Yes.
we wonder why we attract certain people into our lives.
That's it.
And
That's it.
that's, those are the reasons,
Absolutely.
definitely.
Mhm.
But with Linda, it has to be. I, I'm there for comfort and emotional support, right? Because everything else she got,
Yeah.
she on it.
Yeah.
Okay, she on it. She ready. She's gonna get it done. Take
Yeah.
care of it. She's everything. I don't worry about anything. The only thing that I feel like I bring to the table with her that's of importance is the emotional support, being able to allow her to be heard. Because remember, she grew up in the church. She grew up with it. So a lot of times children are heard and not, they're seen and not heard, right? So being able to pull things out or
Yeah.
to release things from your body is important
Right.
because
Right.
those things turn into physical
That's
Right.
it.
manifestations,
That's
right?
it.
So I'm always on her about making sure she's taking care of herself and to make sure that whatever she needs as far as me being able to comfort. And so it's important to know exactly what is needed
Mhm.
so that this way you can give it if that's what you have to give, or they go somewhere else and get it because
Oh,
sometimes it's certain
oh, well.
they can go somewhere else and get it because
Mhm.
there's certain things that we're one person. you
That's right.
can't you
True
can't
fact.
fulfill all the desires of your
Right.
partner.
That's
Right.
true.
That's I mean you
I'm
that's
every woman is a song.
It
right.
is.
That's it.
So being able for her to go out there and hang out with her guys and talk to them about some
Right.
things, that's fulfilling for her as well.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right. I think I'm a lot like you when you say I'm overabundance. I think I overly do everything. By the way, guys, I think I've used that word so many times, but I know that I'm a overabundance of emotional support. I'm that person that in a relationship you will never not know or never not feel the love. Like if you don't feel it, then it's just not, it's not there. I like you a lot, right? But I am that person. So I don't know how to not be that person because I was my parents were older when they had me, so I was the surprise kid. So I came many years later, and so it was almost being raised by my grandparents, right? But they're my parents. So, for example, my dad's 80, right, and he will be 81, and so my brother and sister, people mistake them for my parents, right? They're going, "Oh, I saw your mom today," and I'm looking like, "Oh Jesus," because my mom passed away, right? And so, anyway, I just feel like because of all of the love and attention and affection I received, I don't understand how to be any other way. So it's hard for me in many relationships to give just pieces of myself. You know how some people can just kind of like, be in the middle, like, well, I know how far to go with this person. For me, that's a difficult task. And so because of that, and life experiences, of course, I'm very protective of myself and of people that I love or people that I interact with. For instance, like if we're all hanging out, we're all the married couples that did the panel. If Tiana gets up and walks away and she's gone for like 4 minutes, I'm like, okay, I'm still looking to see like when she coming back, and I might tap and say, "Hey Clay, where Tiana go?" Not because you know what I'm saying, because now I've built this protection mechanism naturally, right? Because it's like, okay, we've been in each other's energy. I feel that your spirit is just, like you're a free
Genuine.
spirit, you're genuine, you're pure. So you know what I'm saying? So it just kind of turns into that for me. So I just have that whole thing where I'm just very protective. Um,
You get disappointed easily?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So
Very
there's work, but
Mhm.
don't change who you are. That's
It's
beautiful.
it's hard. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's hard for me though. That's why I kind of like I stay in the back. A lot of people think they're just like Kisses is so mean, and it's like it's not that. It's just I again, y'all. I overkill. That's me. I do too much. You know what I'm saying?
Not too much.
Yeah, too much sometimes. But I mean, trust me, it's from a good place. It's from a good place. Yeah, so I think that's how I show up. Just an overabundance of emotional support. Oh, come on, you need this, and I'm very nurturing. Like if I see somebody like, oh, I hurt something, like I'm digging in my bag. I got Neosporin, girl. I got, you know what I'm saying? Now I'm the mother of 5. That's a whole nother subject, y'all. But anyway, anyway, I'm just very nurturing and very loving and very, I'm kind of,
Inviting.
yeah.
Warm.
Yeah, yeah, and kind of wanted like right here protection. Like I'm building that wall already. So
Okay. And how do you show up for her when she's doing that and when she needs you?
I'm more of a doer. So it's like sometimes because she feels like she's a overabundance of things and she gets sometimes, like you said, disappointed a lot. That affects her mentally sometimes. So it's just like, all right, well, if you just want to relax and do this, I will do. I like to say that in marriage, I'm the verb and she's the rest of the sentence, and together we're a complete sentence because it's like if you need that time to just relax and just, get yourself together mentally, I will do the physical things that are needed to make sure that we're still functioning and that we're okay.
Absolutely. So the Clays, how do you two show up for each other?
I show up for my wife as being I would like to say her safe place. She had a rough life growing up, experienced a lot at a very young age growing up. And she's never had somebody that she can fully trust and just lay everything on. So I try to show up as she needs me to show up. So if she needs somebody to talk to, I'll listen. I won't say a word. If she just needs to vent, if she needs advice, I'm there. If she's sick and she needs somebody to pray for her, I'm laying hands on her. I ain't waiting till no pastor come to the house. I'm gonna lay hands on
you
her.
better. Girl, I almost throw my shoe at this.
That part.
Hold on now. Wait a minute. Southern Baptist. Hold on.
But she's very nurturing. Like Mrs. Moore. She's very nurturing and she's a people collector. So she collects, I call her a people collector because she collects people and then she deals with their energy because she always wants to nurture.
Yes.
So I guess in a nutshell, I say I try to take the S off of her chest. So she won't be a super woman, but just allow her to be a woman and just not have that much stress on her. So that's what I
love that. Yeah.
And then for me, I try to show up for my wife in any capacity that she needs me to show up. I mean, if I need to be her cheerleader, I'm coming with the pom-poms.
That's it.
If I need to motivate her, because sometimes my wife can be very hard on herself and she's her biggest critic, and I'm going to pour into her and I'm going to speak life into her and I'm going to let her know, like, you the shit.
That's right.
Nobody else need to tell you that. You the shit.
That's
so
right.
Just know whatever you do, whatever it is that you're going to do or you want to do, you're gonna do it. I'm showing up in every capacity wherever she need me to show up at. I'm there. However that looks.
Absolutely. So that's amazing. So with that, to kind of piggyback on that, like when you show up and you do these things, because we're in the love section now. So not to put anybody on the spot, but what was the last like romantic thing that you guys did for each other or with each other? Or if it's not romantic, what was the last, or do you have any like activities that you do together? There's always like a ritual, tradition, or something that you guys have to do together no matter what. And each of you can answer real quickly.
The last romantic thing I did was show up and be an employee when my wife had to terminate someone. Now that's real sexy and romantic. Okay, let me let you know. After I'd been at work for 10 hours.
Yeah.
That was sexy. Mm-hmm.
That's love right there.
That's okay. Okay.
I think one of our rituals that I kind of look forward to is we travel a lot. So Kiss is not really too keen on flying. I am like, we can just get there quicker. And she's like, yeah. So we travel a lot. So when we do, we kind of I like to channel into our like inner child. Like we do like car karaoke and just kind of like take the scenic route and just chill and just kind of release everything that we have going on in our lives and just kind of, just on cruise control.
Yeah. We become real childish.
Yeah.
We make videos that we're never gonna post.
Ever.
Like they're just in the phone, and every once in a while, like if we're having a moment, I'll send her a video. You know what I'm saying? And be like, "Oh, look at us," and she's like, "I know, huh?" You know what I'm saying? Those kind of things work too, guys. Keep the videos. You know what I'm saying? Those little weird moments in the video. Yeah, but yeah, we do. Yeah, we
that's one of our
channel the inner child.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Julian and Jamila, what do you two do?
So I think the last romantic thing we did was the Jazz in the Park. So we did Jazz in the Park, and I packed a picnic, and it was originally just supposed to be us. And our youngest son ended up coming with us.
Oh, gotta love it.
But it was okay because number one, he's in band right now, so he's into instruments and things like that. But also, he got a chance to see what a date's supposed to look like, and to learn that as a young man, what he's into. He's heavily into girls right now, so it's okay for a girl to take you out. It's okay for you to still be a gentleman in that space.
That's right. Yes.
So, even though it was supposed to be just the two of us kind of thing, it was a teachable moment for us as parents, for him to be able to see this is what romance looks like. This is what love looks like. This is what fun looks like. I actually, before he and I went dancing, they were playing All I Do Is Think About You. And that's one of my son's favorite songs, the Stevie Wonder song.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of his favorite songs. And I was like, do you want to dance with your mom? Yes, I would like to dance with my mom.
And I got the video.
And he recorded it. And then, so when he and I went out to dance, he made sure that he recorded me and Julian, having our dance and moment and things like that. So even though it wasn't just us experience, it was a beautiful experience because he got to see it and he got to learn from it.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That is beautiful. So do you have any like rituals, traditions, or things that you do together, activities that you like to do together?
Shower.
Yeah. Yeah, so we definitely take our daily showers together, and like if one of us go get in the shower for whatever reason without the other, we're both looking at each other like, what are you doing? Like like why are you in the shower by yourself? That's not a thing. No, like that's definitely not a thing.
That is an undisturbed, our kids can't get in touch with us moment. So it doesn't matter if they're calling, if they're knocking on the doors, because like he was saying, at one point we had four of the six kids living with us. And so it was that one, 30 minutes, in the shower where we could talk and just have genuinely just a love moment and be able to, talk to each other and things like that. Because I promise you, if we're in this room, we literally have a privacy thing. He was talking about, if you're not bleeding out and all of that stuff, we have that on our door. It never fails. You would swear that these kids were all dying.
Of course they are.
And I'm not talking about young kids. I'm talking 20-something.
20-year-olds.
Of course. They're the worst. They are the worst.
They are the worst.
And so being able to be in our bathroom, in our shower, undisturbed for just that 30 minutes before we have to get into work, our work day, or whatever, that looks like, it makes a world of difference. And if we don't, oh, and we have a song, because I have MS, I started listening to Donald Lawrence Hill.
Mm,
And now, if he doesn't hear that song every day, his day is off.
mm,
Oh, I love it.
yeah.
I love that so much.
I
So,
love
please,
it.
do you guys have a ritual or activity or tradition? And then also, what was the last romantic thing that you've done with each other?
Um,
Who?
Oh, who
Oh,
was that for? Oh,
go ahead.
oh, um, so the last romantic thing that well my wife did for me, but I'm gonna include myself in that because it wasn't just her. I had a rough day at work a couple of weeks ago, and I came home and she had a bath ran for me with some candles, and the music was going, and she had my wine because she know I loves wine. And
Mhm.
but after that, I gave her like a little strip tease.
Okay.
It started out for me, but then it ended up for her. So it was
Reverse
nice.
psychology. I like it.
You know, because we don't really get to do things like that too much in the house because we have our 11-year-old is here, and then our son, and then at that time I think our grandbabies was there, and I mean we just had a
Yeah.
house full of kids. So
Yeah.
normally we'll do like staycations, in order to try to
Yeah.
get that romantic time in. But my baby made it happen. She squeezed it in, put all the kids out. So it was it was nice. But do we have any rituals,
yeah.
baby?
We travel a lot, and we do staycations a lot. So
Yeah.
sometimes our work
Mhm.
schedule may be really crazy to where we can't take a weekend off, or we can't have the full weekend. So we'll get a hotel downtown Atlanta, and we'll just find a restaurant we haven't been to yet, and just stay a night or two just to kind of relight
Yeah.
that flame.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We become real like we never even been to Atlanta before.
I like it.
Amazing.
And listen,
And by Dory and Linda.
listen, I'm new here, so I'm all for the where we going today, cause yeah, vacations are
Oh
nice.
yeah.
Well, our kids is grown. Um, so we here by ourselves. So, so if we want to be walking around here butt ass naked, and she bend over to get something, and I don't know if we do romance anymore. We just
Do y'all?
we just that's a good word. We just go out. And so it's not, I guess our lives are not compartmentalized in that way. I know at some point you need that, but because we are empty nesters, it and we only it's just my boy who's 30. So um we do little things. So like the full moon, we had a ritual for the full moon, things that we desire to manifest. We
Yeah.
did that, did a little some candle magic. Um, we go out. She said she met me, out to eat, and I'm like, we eat out all the time. So that's not anything to me real special. We do take vacations. So, that's always this last time. Let me just say this. This last time we went to Cancun, we both were very disappointed with our accommodations. And, we've let that be known. But at some point, everything, when one thing happens, it's like now it's a lot of different things start to happen. And I was like, babe, we all the way here in Mexico, we gonna have us a good time regardless, right? And so we were able to take that time and make it about us when it was so many other distractions around us. And so I was real proud of us because it was, because for me, accommodations and not, having the right stuff, is a lot, right? Because
Yes,
I'm
it
excited
is.
to have what I want, but it made us
Mhm.
just stop and realize exactly what was more important,
Right.
you
Right.
know. And
Yep.
so that was, that was something that we got an opportunity to see how our relationship. So now we are the creators and change makers of our relationship, right?
Absolutely.
So
Love
that,
that.
I
Love it.
think that's where it goes. It's not a compartmentalized thing for us.
And
Yeah.
when Badori was doing classes for skincare, oncology skincare, um, we had it down to such an art to where, if she was holding a class in Florida, we jump in the car and there was always an adventure. In all of the classes, we've been to Louisiana a couple of times. We've been to up
Jersey
to
places.
Jersey. We've been all over, and it was always an adventure. And I think that was it was romantic. And you driving down the street and you have a flat tire, and you these good old white boys get you a tire. They tat it up. They got mullets, and we stand there looking at each other, going, "Okay, if we get out of Virginia, we're gonna be good." And we got lost one time when we were headed to Florida. When we got
That's not romantic, Mama.
but I'm saying those kind of. I know it's not romantic, but it's those things, the adventures. You
Yeah.
know,
The
the adventures, the surprises of life,
Right.
Yeah.
make it, the bond gets a little stronger,
It does get stronger.
It
you
does.
know,
Yeah.
and romance all the time ain't fucking. So
I,
That part.
I'm just saying, it's not all the time.
this is a public show.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Talk about it. Talk about it. Talk about it. Talk about it.
So I want to do this because we're in this space now. So, um, the Punani poets used to do this thing in their show called Love Confessions, and what that is that when we have couples, we used to bring couples up to the stage, and they would essentially confess their love to their partner, whatever they love about them, their favorite thing about them, all of that. And because we have couples up here, I actually want to do that with you guys. So I want to start with the newlyweds first. So we're going to start from the newlyweds, then we're going to go to, I believe, the Clays, because you said 5 years, correct? That you were married?
Yeah.
So we're going to start with Julie and Jamila. We're going to go to the Clays. We're going to go to the Moors, and then we're going to end it off with Dory and Linda. And I just want you guys to just take a moment and publicly love on your partner and do this love confession, please. And then after that, we'll do a Q&A because we do have a couple questions. So after that, we'll go right into the Q&A. Okay. So you two
I
can
gotta
sign
go
up.
first. Okay. He's about to hate what I'm gonna say. You all right or whatever? That is something that I say to him, but it is with the utmost respect and love and um, loving me from a safe space, um, allowing me to be who I am in protecting you. Because I'm a mama bear. Um, but all of that being said, it is, that when I say you are right or whatever, it is absolutely um, my way of saying our forever.
Y'all so cute.
So one, or maybe probably the thing I love the most about you is that you you see me, and I tell you that all the time. Um, you see me for who Julian is. You see Julian for who he's always been. And because of that, I know you see Julian for who he's becoming. Because even in the moments where sometimes I don't see myself, you allow me the ability to stand firmly in my authenticity. And I know that even though I stand in a world that wants to strip that away from me, and even though I know, I tell you all the time, it grinds my gears to hear you say you protecting me. But in all fairness and all truth, I love that about you. I love that I have somebody that's my person that stands in that light.
Thank you so much
Aw.
for that. You guys are so cute.
Indeed.
So now on to Tiana and Clay, if you could.
You want first? Or you want me to go first?
I'll go first. You want to go first? Go ahead. Y'all, I don't get this too often, so this is
Look,
great.
I was just getting ready to say, I told y'all earlier that I'm a doer. So
That's it. That's it.
So I'm gonna put into words how I feel. So, baby, I love everything about you. Everything. I love your nurturing soul, your nurturing spirit. I love the way that you love me. The way that you love me is something that I have never experienced before. And I appreciate that. The way that you cheer me on, the way that you speak life into me, the way that our bond is. Like, I've never been with someone that I truly can say is my best friend. Like, we have so much fun together. We laugh all the time at the littlest things that only you and I understand. But I appreciate you for loving me the way that you do, and for giving me your heart and trusting me with your heart and feeling secure with me.
You're welcome, baby.
You're
So I love you. I love your heart. Your heart is huge. I mean, I never met anybody um, that has the same heart as mine. Like, you're so loving, you're so caring, you're so giving, and I love that about you. But most importantly, I love the fact that you love me through all of my traumas. You love me through all of my depressions, my anxieties. You love me through my bullshit. You love me when I come up with the craziest ideas. You be with the shit just like I be with the shit. Like, you just never look at me like I'm crazy and be like, baby, really? Like, no, you just go with it. Like, I love that about you. I love the fact that you love me unconditionally and you let me be who I am. And you've never tried to change me. And most importantly, the fact that you love our children. Like, you just came and you just stepped in and you just automatically just became Mama Clay, and that was like the most important thing to me. And I just thank you for loving us the way that you love us.
always.
Hmm.
Oh. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the Moors. If you could share with us.
Of course, you want me to go first. No. So, I would have to say that this is something a little different. So, I want to say that for so many years, just navigating through life and going through things and good and bad, there's always been a missing puzzle piece for me. And in that missing puzzle piece, I never knew what it was until we met. The first time I laid eyes on you, I never saw your face. Remember, I saw you from the back, and I immediately knew like there was an instant connection, an instant energy of togetherness. And I think I told you this story like 1,000 times, but I knew you were my person. Um, I prayed about it because I was afraid because again, I had walls up. Because of many things. I mean, just life. And so in loving you, it's been fun, scary, happy, sad. It's been a real roller coaster ride. However, the foundational part of that is our spiritual because that's what connected us in the first place.
Yep.
And I stand on that. And what I love about you is that you are extremely consistent. When I don't have the capacity to hold it, you do. And the fact that you don't mind covering those grounds. You protect me in ways that many people would never understand in a relationship. And when I say protection, I'm speaking of spiritually. You pray for me, you pray over me. When I'm not feeling my best, your hands are always on me. And I know sometimes that's without words, but I know you're praying. And the best thing you can ever offer a person is prayer. And so that looks different for me. And it's huge. It's just a major thing. In growing up in church, private school, I never appreciated the things that were given to me, but now it's come all the way back around to the point where I married the very thing I ran away from all my life.
I was literally about to say that.
I have to say that our love for me is just on a whole nother level. And I don't view our marriage as just your average relationship. And this is that so many people don't understand my level of respect and love for our relationship because it's bigger than what anybody can understand. It's supernatural. And that's the thing that I hold on to the most. And this is why I decided to release all the things that I knew was not healthy for us to get where we are today. And it really taught me about who I was. It forced me into some places to see myself. And that's the hardest person to deal with in life itself.
Right.
So loving you and being in this space with you, even if we were never together, even if we were to part, I know that the missing puzzle piece has been fulfilled. And there will never be another love, another relationship, another anything that can equal up to what we have.
Yes. Oh, that was
nice. So again, to piggyback off of you, I will say that most times we run away from the things that disturbs us the most. And one of the biggest things that I ran away from in the beginning was that you'd always tell me, well, I have more experience. I know better. I've been through this. You haven't been through life. You're still, and I hated to hear those things. But honestly, those are the things that I love about you most because even though we joke, and one of our favorite songs is "Practice" by Drake. So I will say that seriously,
that's her favorite song.
Yeah, I didn't know that it was my favorite song, but it is because you're so nurturing and because you're so diligent in how you handle me or whatever. I will say that that's the thing that I love most. That I love most about you is that you've been through these things, so you know how to protect us in those ways. Practice.
Love you.
Oh,
Me too.
I love that. And then lastly, we'll go to by the way, Linda, if you would please.
What you gonna say?
let me get on one knee.
Okay, all right. That's what I'm talking about.
On one knee.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I need to say when we first met, she asked me a question, and what do you? I think it was like on along the lines of what are you looking for in a partner? And I said someone that knows me, and she has taken the time. She has taken the effort to know me. That's number one, and she knows me. Lord, she knows me. And the second half is she assists me with my shadows, and helps me see my shadows. That stuff that is pressed down, that's very deep, and she helps me see my shadows and allows me to make shifts and changes and try to understand them, not get rid of the shadows, but just helps me understand that this right here is a shadow, and different behaviors pop off of that shadow is not conducive for you. It's not working for you, and that's the part I love about her both, the most, is that her ability to hold my hand, I'm 64, and I'm pretty set in my ways in some things, and she holds my hand and she said, you can let go of that. You don't have to be set in that way, in those ways anymore. And she holds my hand all the way through it, and I'm able to let it go without resentment, grief, or any of it. It's setting that bird free. Bye.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah, I'm gonna kiss you.
You are my reflection. You are my mirror image. There's things sometimes that we have learned about each other, and it's a reflection. It's a reflection. It's what I'm looking at is my reflection, and if that's I'm looking at my reflection, then I am beautiful because you are.
Oh,
You are. So,
Love it.
and it's everything that I've ever desired. I hadn't had a relationship before, Linda. For 2 years was my most. Was going through for 2 years, and I've seen a lot of different things, and I've experienced, and I always knew what I wanted, and I always wanted someone again that I felt safe with. Was able to take off my coat and stay a while. No put-ons. We get up in the morning and it's both of us looking real scary. But it's beautiful. It's beautiful to look into the eyes of your partner and to be able to say that my reflection is beautiful because you are beautiful.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I love you for that. I love you for that. Thank you.
how I look.
You look good.
Thank you so much for everybody doing that. Like, I know for me, that definitely warmed my heart. And the comments are going crazy because everybody just loves that. And I think it's important for people to see that, that there is genuine love out here, that there's people out here really doing it. Now, I know we're coming close to the end of our session. We did have 2 questions. If everybody's okay with that and still have time to go over, I do want to get the 2 questions that were asked, and then we'll go ahead and end out for the night. Is that okay with everyone?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Real quick, shout out to the emotionals. We didn't cry, y'all. We didn't cry.
Yes, we did it.
Right. Yes, you made it. So the first question that was asked, it was a little earlier in the evening. They asked, how do you break through the barriers of your spouse's childhood trauma? I think that was Bador, when you 2 were talking about working through things. So that was one of our first questions, was asked about that.
First, you really have to. You have to work in so self-awareness. Okay. Self-awareness and understanding that, we've all been through a lot. If you black, you've been through a lot. Okay. So,
Period.
um, and just that statement alone. But, being able to recognize those things within yourself that needs healing. There's things that we don't look at. And sometimes, like I said earlier, the reflection comes up in your partner so that this way you can take a look at yourself.
Right.
Self is so it's important, to make sure that your partner is good and all that, but you we all need to work on ourselves so that this way we can show up for our partner. Because other than that, you're gonna have some turmoil and trauma, continuous trauma,
Continuous trauma.
right?
Yes.
So you're gonna have to, look at yourself and see those things that, you just don't like anymore, or it's not, it's not benefiting you anymore.
That's right.
It's not serving you anymore.
Service. Yes.
So that this way you can learn how to begin to release. Therapy is good. Therapy is real good. Communication is good, but communicate you can communicate with somebody, but people are not necessarily being comprehending.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Comprehension is so important.
Yes,
that
it
you're
is.
comprehending what you are hearing. So, using the tools, when people think that nothing's wrong with them, when you look back at your old relationships and you the common denominator.
Exactly.
Think about something that every ex said to you, and that might be true.
Yep. Dealing with
So everybody's not wrong.
That's
So
it.
it's going to take some self-reflection. To look at and then to work on. It's not work on your own traumas first. Then you can be there to help your partner.
That's
but
it.
You gotta work on yours first.
Yeah. You gotta own your traumas first.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. You gotta own them, and you gotta want to sit with it.
That's
you gotta sit with it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I hope I answered your question.
Yes. Did anybody want to piggyback off of that?
I would say so. Prior to meeting Julian, I had a really bad breakup with one of my partners, and they told me, like in rage and anger, you need to do some shadow work. And you know what? He was absolutely right. He was absolutely right. And I am glad that that was said, because had it not been said, and had I not sat in that and allowed myself to feel all the feels, he talks about human moments. I'm very big. People are going to be jealous. People are going to be angry. People are going to be sad. It's just called being a human.
Right.
What we go through. But I was able to sit in all of those things, work through those things for myself. So now, because I've done that work for self, now I'm available to him. And I think that's so important in terms of being able to deal with those childhood traumas and things like that, because by the time he and I met, and once we started talking and communicating, now I'm able to more authentically say, okay, I experienced these things in life. It's people always talk about what they've gone through, and I'm a preacher's kid. I'm an ordained minister, and one of the things that I love about the Bible is the stories. But what I love the most is that there are a lot of stories that say it came to pass.
Right.
That's right.
Things are going to come. You're going to deal with those things because we are human, but they always come to pass.
That's
So
right.
how do you deal with going through it so it can pass? And that, I think, is what one of the biggest things that helps when you're talking about relationship and what you've experienced in your life, and how to get through those different traumas and things like that. And so being able to sit in yourself first and get through that, because it came, so now you got to let it pass.
Right.
I think another thing with the trauma situation is that we have to realize that we can't always be our person's person. And I think it takes a really mature person to say that I can handle some of this, but I can't handle some of that, instead of taking it on and saying, oh yeah, I can handle it all. And then it adds on to the trauma, right? Because to some degree, we don't fully understand it because we didn't experience it. But if you're suggesting therapy, right? It's important that you also attend therapy with your partner to understand what that trauma looks like, right? Because if you haven't experienced it, we can all say like, oh yeah, like, oh, Billy got hit by a car. Oh yeah, I know that hurt. But if you've never been hit by a car, do you really know how Billy feels? You really don't know. Let's be honest, right? So I think it's important to not just, and I know I'm one of those people, I want to run to be there because I'm a nurturer. I know I can fix it. That's me, right? Super mom, super nurturer. I fix things. I fix. That's what I do, right? But sometimes we are not actually fixing it. We can actually add insult to injury if we don't know how to deal with that injury. So it's important that we know, because I'll take my wife. You mind me sharing?
Yeah.
She's an empath, right? So when people feel things, she feels it all. Like, somebody could come and say, oh my God, my house burned down and my dog died and blah. And she's taking it all in, right? You know what I'm saying? And I'm sitting there waiting and I'm listening and I'm scoping things out. My radar is going off like, one more time. Okay, this happened when and how far apart that happened. And, I'm taking mental notes. She's already passed out, died, and been resuscitated again. That story just took her out, right? And so I'm handling things totally different. And she's going, oh my God, babe, we got to do something. And I go, what are you talking about? She's drunk, babe. It's okay. You know what I'm saying? So again, you just kind of have to know. And a lot of times people don't know, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, they don't even understand, like, poor baby probably didn't sleep that well that night because she heard that story. And me, on the other hand, I'm snoring because I already know what time it is, right? So you just have to know, what you have the capacity to handle and when you have to hand it over. And I know it's hard to hand it over when you love someone, because you want to be the person to fix it. You want to be the nurturer. You want to be, well, I know that's me. I can do it myself. If she tells me, oh, well, I was trying to do that. Oh, girl, I'm going on YouTube. I'm making that myself. I'm going by the supplies. I'm crafty. I'm doing it. Don't you ask another soul, right? Don't you do that. So I think we really need to examine, do we have the capacity to take that in? And if we feel like we do we have the right tools? Are we using the right tools to assist with the trauma? That's the next thing. And then again, like all of you said, you are absolutely right. You have to deal with your own before you can be available for somebody else. And then from that point, it turns into a trust thing. You know what I'm saying? Does this person, how do you bring the walls down after that? Because of course, with trauma, trust is broken. That's the bottom line. So there's a lot of components to that. And that's why I feel like sometimes we need to make sure that we're not, what's the saying?
Trauma bonding.
Yeah. And biting off more than we can chew. You know what I'm saying? And then now we both all jacked up. Right. Like, who's gonna help us now? Because now it's pouring. We're bleeding on our family members, our friends, other relationships, people around us. So we have to be extremely careful when dealing with trauma.
Yep.
And that's my story. And not only that, if I may piggyback off of that with the trauma bonding. Another reason why you gotta be careful with that, because you bond off of that trauma. Now, when one person has healed and is ready to move on, now you're sitting in a static place that is not healthy for either one of the individuals.
That's right.
Absolutely. So you definitely have to be wary of that, and going off of your toolkit, and do you have the right tools? have, with understanding that, and is your toolkit fit for that trade, so to speak. Not only do you have the right tools, because you, for example, as an electrician, I may have a pair of channel locks, but my channel locks use how it's used here doing electrical work. It's not going to be the same way it might be used over here in this
That's right.
mechanic shop.
Absolutely.
So do you have the correct tool for the trade?
That's
And
right.
once you've had the correct tool for the trade and finished doing your trauma bonding and get away from that, are you now in a place to where your toolkit is ready and fit for everything that journey is taking you on? You know,
That's
if
it.
it's not, then you can't step foot on that
That's
path
right.
with that
That's right.
individual, because then you're
Absolutely.
doing way more harm
Then
than
you
That's
good.
it.
correct.
That's it. That's it. Absolutely. I agree.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for that answer. And then, so our last question was, would you all say that there is a level of emotional maturity that's needed in the relationship to stay connected all the way around?
Indeed.
Absolutely.
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 Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. When you think about emotional maturity, and that's not even, so there's different levels across the board, in different things. You may have one level of emotional maturity overall in an individual, but then depending on what component that you're talking about, that individual's emotional maturity level could be different. you know it's no different than where somebody might stand intellectually. You may be highly intellectual when it comes to mathematics, but when you look at that English or you look at that science, you're on different spectrums of that scale.
Absolutely.
The same is true with emotional maturity. And that also can be particularly depending on what experiences you have gone through in life. So
Yes.
if you haven't had certain experience in life, then how will you have a certain emotional maturity level, because you've never dealt with it, to build that level, to build
Right.
up any kind of emotional
Right.
ties to that. That's just like I try to explain to my eldest son all the time when we're talking about things that happen to people, right? No, he's a very emotional being, and he doesn't understand why so many people don't care about others, just in particular. And I try to tell him, people don't care about others until it's in their yard or it's in their
That's
house.
right.
you
Fact.
know we see things that's going on in another place or with another individual, and it never matters until it's your individual that was hurt, or
Right.
it's the
Right.
person in your family that was taken from you. Now you're full of that emotional wheelbarrow that has everything in it that goes with whatever it is in that field. So it's the same thing. If no one if an individual hasn't had that trauma happen, or been in that space with that individual that has had that trauma happen, then they're not going to know, they're not going to have that emotional maturity to deal with it. And you do, at least I feel, you do have to have some sort of level commonality with your partner in order to be able to deal with and infect, a safe space and a safe way to deal with that with one another.
That's being equally yoked, right?
Mm-hmm.
People think that equally yoked means, us having the same economics or, you know,
Mm-hmm.
education or things outside of themselves. But equally yoked is being able to be met with your
Mm-hmm.
partner and
Mm-hmm.
being met emotionally with your partner. If you have somebody who's immature emotionally and you're trying to get them to a certain space, now you've become their teacher or their mentor. You're a
Hmm.
parent, right? You
Right.
don't want that kind of energy in your relationship. You want your relationship to be equally in that space of being mature, right? Emotionally mature. So a lot of times when people are talking about equally yoked, they don't know what they're talking about. They talking about things. They talking about stuff.
Right.
Like that has nothing to do. You can have stuff today and not have it tomorrow.
That's
Hello.
right. That's right. Absolutely.
You know. So it's about where you are emotionally. If my partner doesn't want to listen to me or say you bitch all the time because I'm trying to express myself, that's not equally yoked
At all.
So
Come on with
it becomes totally imbalanced. There's no harmony and unhealthy. And unhealthy.
Right.
So yes, it's important. And the way that you become emotionally healthy is working. And I'm an advocate about working on things for yourself. You got to learn you. You got to learn you. You know. So that's my 2 cents.
I like.
Did anybody else want to chime in on that?
I totally agree.
Right, so I'm going to go ahead and bring Amber up on stage with us, and I want to thank both of us. Definitely want to thank you for coming out and speaking with us tonight. Amber, if you want to go chime in.
Yes. You got, like I said, you guys have prepared me, you know, and I want everyone who's watched this and will be watching this and will also hear this, to know that if you're single right now, please know these couples give me so much hope. Even though right now I'm in the dating pool of poo poo, I see hope. I see light. I see light. And it shines
Change your pools.
And I literally will tell you this. Yes, I'm jealous of each and every one of y'all's relationships because I hope that I can find someone to give me the things that I need, like you all have found the partners to be able to give you the things that you need.
And give her the things she needs.
Oh, I will.
And you give her the things she needs too. Right.
I am ready. I am ready for that.
Yes.
But I say this in the fact that, like, with all of you all, and I know some of you a little bit more than I know others. Y'all are amazing. Y'all are amazing. And I don't care if y'all get off of this and say, you know, I ain't like you. I'm still mad at you. I don't even care if y'all do that. Because that's necessary in the growth of relationships.
Right.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that you all have been able to open up your relationships to us, and given us, and honestly, and I mean this, you've given us hope that this is Black love as well. People forget about us, right? They show nothing against our heterosexual people, but they show them in Black love. But guess what, ladies, gentlemen, this is Black love right here as well. And I appreciate you. I say this to those of you who are watching: take these jewels offline, have these conversations, drop the jewels that these couples have dropped to you tonight. Drop them to your friends that are looking at each other and call, yeah, this is my bitch. Drop those jewels when they say that. Drop what you heard here so they can stop having toxic and narcissistic relationships. Because it is ugly out here. And if you can be with someone and walk with someone hand in hand and be equally yoked, because that's how all our grandparents, I don't care if you ever said it, please know it's all we learned the word equally yoked from our grandparents and from and our ancestors. And take this, and I'm pretty sure that the couples that you are seeing here tonight have no problem with you dropping a DM if you need them.
Absolutely. Do so.
All of the couples here, the Clays have a podcast and a television show. You got two couples that are leaders and are trainers and coaches. We've got the gay aunties. You can't go wrong. Like I said, I appreciate y'all, and I know that those who have watched, stayed with us tonight, those that are going to watch, those that are going to hear you, we're going to flourish. We're going to stop having these U-Haul relationships. We're going to start having some really solid relationships. And one other thing, you all have proven that it doesn't matter where I meet you. Right? Because think about where all these people, where every couple said they met, it ain't been the traditional way, pretty much.
Right.
And once that she didn't even know what the person looked like. She just saw him from the back and said, that's mine.
That's it.
That lets you know that look, fairy tales come true.
Yes,
They do.
You know, look, we got 4 fairy tales right here, and I am like, I could go on for another hour, but I am so appreciative of you all. Thank you very much. From Real Boys Talk, from Sigma Omega Phi Fraternity Incorporated as well. We appreciate.
We
Yes.
appreciate you. We appreciate
Thank you guys for
We
having us.
appreciate you for having us.
Absolutely. And quickly, I want everybody to say what they have going on, if you have anything coming up, and then definitely put out your information where people can follow you, because a lot of you are doing a lot of different things. So I want to make sure that you promote that. So we can start with the Moors, and then we'll go on.
Sis, you want to go first?
Go ahead.
All right. So, Cicely and I, as I mentioned before, we are life coaches. So, and we're also Symbis facilitators, which is Symbis is the test that you take prior to being married or even being in a relationship. It's a 200 question essay that just kind of basically maps it out with you and the other person. It kind of speaks to your finances, your birth order. It actually matters in a relationship. It has really cool stuff in there. You can always see it. The website is www.kissmycoach.com, and there's a lot of information on there. We do relationship coaching, we do group coaching, whether it's for organizations. And I'm also a clergy, so I also marry people. I do premarital classes. What else we have going on? Everything under the sun. I also have a women's support group. I do something called Water into Wine. It's once a month, and I get all the ladies together and we do spiritual wellness. It's a spiritual wellness event. We talk about, saging, and we talk about, energy. We talk about God. We talk about the Bible. We talk about a whole lot of things, and so I do that once a month, and it's a free event. Just kind of like reel people in and bring love back. You know what I mean? Into the world, like into our community, especially because we have a lot of, we talk about the outside world, but we also have a lot of hate inside of our community. And we really need to, my biggest thing is to fight that, combat that, break those walls down and lock arms instead of swinging at one another. And then of course my wife, she is the founder of Gamma Alpha Psi Incorporated Fraternity. So there's always events going on. December is the big winter gala.
Yes.
Here December 16th, and
normally once a month we do what we call Wind Down Wednesday, where we meet with a mental health facilitator, where we just kind of have a round table discussion, kind of have a topic per month, what we talk about, and just kind of create a safe space for us to kind of get those things out there, because we have a lot of issues and things that are going on in our community that we just kind of need to talk to. And sometimes people just need that support group to navigate through those things.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. So the Clays, do you have anything coming up, or do you have any organizations that you would like to promote?
Yes. So you want to say it, baby?
So we have a relationship podcast that's on Black Ink Radio, where we discuss everything relationships, friendships, and we also have a talk show that we just actually launched. So we did season 1 already. So our talk show is geared towards the LGBTQIA community. So we talk about different subjects or topics like relationship, friendships, but we also give the opportunity for business owners and other entities that's in the LGBTQIA community to come forth and kind of promote their business and what it is that they do on another platform. So we try to give our community something to elevate us and to recognize pillars in our community that's out here doing different things that we don't get the recognition for.
Absolutely.
We also own a home improvement and major installations company as well. So where we do home improvements, renovate homes, things like that. Do we have anything coming up? And we're gearing up for season two of our talk show in January. So
where can they find the talk show?
So you can find us on Instagram, molding_the_clay, and on YouTube is where you can watch the talk show, and that's Molding the Clay talk show.
Yep.
On YouTube.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. And Badoy and Linda, do you have anything coming up? Do you have anything you would like to promote?
Okay. Um, it's Bedore's Botanica. I am a spiritualist. I'm a Reiki master, an ordained metaphysical minister. So we have a couple of things. Grief ritual that will be coming up in the new year. So the grief ritual is a ritual around people who may have lost loved ones this year and really didn't have an opportunity to grieve the way that they need to. We have counselors there for you. And so it's a huge ritual, but it's all about self-care, taking care of yourself while you're going through this process. Because I believe that grief is a transformation process to get to our healing.
Yes. Yes.
There, I also do Reiki classes, so I have Reiki 1, 2, and 3 coming up. Those will also be in the new year as well. Linda and I were on. Any of you guys remember Between Women?
Yes. I used to love that.
Okay. So Between Women had a production company, and we were on couples coaching. And so we were coaching various couples who were, going through and things of that sort. So we did that for a while. So you probably can catch it still on YouTube.
Okay.
Very, it, it's for real, for the real. Okay. So, and we also do spiritual alignment sessions. So spiritual alignment sessions for intimate partnerships and also spiritual alignment sessions for individuals. And so this is to help people that, are on their spiritual journey, who you have some hiccups sometimes, or sometimes you get a little stuck and you want to know exactly how do I get through some things that are in our minds that we feel like, we might need to take another look at, that I might not be aligning with certain things from my past or my upbringing. So the spiritual alignment sessions help you to get through it, to help you, kind of guide you through that. So I don't necessarily want to call it coaching, but it's more along the lines of guiding and helping you, to get to that space so that this way you can begin to, go off again and be able to create and be all that you can be. So that's Bedore's Botanica, www.bedoresbotanica.com.
And I am working on a new website. So the contact would be to catch up with Bedore on Facebook, which is Bedore Ashe Oyana. I don't know how. Well, most of them know who you are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So if you have questions or want to connect with her, that's one good way of connecting with her while the website
yes.
is trying to get going. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're
Absolutely.
doing rebranding
Yeah.
everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And as somebody who was taking part in those guided sessions, like definitely need it. And it's not a soft guidance either. It's to call you to the mat on your shit type of guidance that some people need. I know I did at that
I
time.
want it. I want it.
So,
I want it.
so
You be over here writing everything down. I want everything.
And then
Well,
lastly,
you have
we'll have
photos to
Julia.
kudos,
Jamila,
too.
do you guys have anything coming up? Is there anything else you would like to promote?
Okay. Yes. So, like you said earlier, we're both life coaches. I am part of several organizations. I am part of 100 Black Trans Men Incorporated, and we are working on going to the Georgia Capitol here January. In January, yeah. But we're building our way to going to Washington, where we'll be taking 100 Black trans men to Washington. couple of states along the way, New York, California, Texas, and those are the ones with Florida we're working on now so that we make our way there. I am also a officer and the reigning face of Alpha Omega Kappa Fraternity Incorporated. Um, and we're always doing things. We getting prepared for Trans Day of Remembrance, which is in a few weeks on the 20th of November. Um, I am also a part of an officer for the Thriving Trans Men of Color, and it's based out of Virginia, but we have members all over, and we're building community there. Um, my coaching company is called Focus to Rise Life Coaching, and it's all about teaching those to work through their authenticity, to be their authentic selves. I am also the veteran face for transgender, um, the transgender awareness for veterans, TADVA, and um, also I have we have three conferences coming up with Focus to Rise, where one is the National Trans Health Conference, which is this month actually. It's in 2 weeks, the weekend of the 16th and 18th, where I'll be hosting two workshops um, teaching about transgender and what the experience is building towards having gender affirming surgery, as well as another workshop where it's dealing with the cis eccentric adversities dealing with being transgender or transgender experience and what that's like and how to navigate that from the outside. Um, Also have a couple of more conferences coming up now through March. The BTAC conference is coming up, so Focus to Rise will be having another workshop there. A lot of talk about growth and safety and changing the growth mindset and how that takes you and encapsulates you to grow further. Um, we are Rain by Jay, which is what do you say, screen printing, clothing brand where we do T-shirts and hats and hoodies and things like that, and we're building that. So we have that. I think there's a lot more, but I can't think right now. But she's also going to be doing a workshop, and I'll let her speak on her life coaching at the trans conference coming up here the weekend of the 16th to 18th as well.
So that conference, I'll be teaching on the never-ending story of the LGBTQIA plus terminology, understanding, and it's very much so a 101 type of class, so that people can begin to understand why pronouns are important, why recognizing a person for themselves and who they are is important. So really excited about that. What else? I am the founder of Delta Mu Xi Sorority and Mu Xi Omega Fraternity. They are both bisexual, pansexual organizations because we as the B need safe spaces too. So we're actively recruiting in that. And at the end of December, in the first of the year, we're going to be taking applications for the first national LGBTQ debutante ball, which I'm super excited about and already exhausted. But I believe that these young people definitely across the spectrum need to be able to be presented as any other cisgender heterosexual child would, or young person I should say would. So we'll be doing that it'll actually be in March of 2025, but the courses will be in 2024. So we're going to be actively taking applications for that. And then we decided that we're going to write a book about polyamory after 40,
See, I
because
was about to
Amber,
say that. Y'all need to talk about that.
the waters are muddy in poly too. But being able to date healthy over 40, because when you're in that particular age range and above, we're so used to monogamy that we don't know how to safely date in polyamorous lifestyle. So we're actively working on that book. So there'll be more to come, both on Focus to Rise page. My page is actually in the process of rebranding as well. So Manifest Magic will be doing. I do a lot of leadership coaching. So Manifest Magic will have that on my page as well, and we'll be doing a lot of coaching with the Clarks kinds of things when it comes to polyamory.
Oh, I forgot. So, just forgot just that quick.
I don't know.
Oh, sorry.
If it ain't on the
Oh,
calendar,
no. Okay. So, Focus to Rise. I am. So, like I said, I moved here from North Carolina here, right? So I've been here for 2 years. So I've rebranded, and pretty soon I will be starting my podcast back up, and it's called Risen for Focus, based off of Focus to Rise. And I am currently looking for different individuals and different couples to have on my podcast. And it's all about authenticity and Focus to Rise, which actually stands for Focus on Celebrating Ultimate Success. Um, and that will be entailing. So I'm looking for people that are willing to be out there and put themselves out there, kind of like what we did, or on a spectrum of showing what it is and how you gain your authentic selves through focusing. And Focus to Rise also has workbooks dealing with knowing how to elevate your growth mindset.
Got it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much again, everybody, for participating with us tonight. All of you that have tuned in, thank you so much as well. So in the comments, you'll see the molding the clay, and you'll get some of that. I know some of the couples may hop into the comments and put their information in there as well. For all those who will be watching us a little later. But I just want to say, from Reign Supreme and of course from Real Both Side, thank you again, couples, for coming. We might have to do a part two because there was definitely a whole bunch of questions. So we may have to do a part two in the future if everybody is willing. But I just wanted to say thank you again.
Yes,
So much.
thank you.
You.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
All right.
Blessings.
And thank everybody for coming in. Have a great night, and we will see you soon.
All right. See y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.